Welcome to Spiritually Raw. We expose and explore controversial truths, myths, and theories surrounding the spirit world. Guests includes investigators, debunkers, and skeptics of the supernatural, unexplained, and flat-out unimaginable. Content discussed on this show is not necessarily the opinion of the cast of Spiritually Raw, and topics quite often are for mature audiences only. This show is not intended to replace any medical, financial, or legal advice and is for entertainment purposes only. So sit back, relax, and enjoy the ride. Hey everybody, what's going on? I know you have a show to watch, so let me get real quick into this with you. Okay, so Ascended Masters you're watching right now, browse, select, ascend. It's very easy to use. All you have to do is scroll down here. You're going to see the different categories, sessions, courses, products, entertainment, books, conscious business growth. All you do is you simply click on the category that's resonating with you or that you're in need of, and you're going to see a video directory of some of the greatest minds out there. And within 5 to 7 minutes, you'll find out who that person is, what their style is, and if they're going to help you on your journey called life. It's a very easy formula to follow right here. And also too, if you're one of those who does have a product or service that you think that will be a benefit to others and you'd like to be on Ascended Masters, our email is in the description below. It's askspirituallyraw@gmail.com. We'll set up a time to chat and see how you can make a difference in the world for people. So hope you're enjoying the site, everybody. Thanks for sharing this, and much love to you. And most importantly, enjoy the show. We'll see you next time. Hello, everybody. How are you? And welcome to Spiritually Raw. Thank you, as always, for your energy exchange with us today. And we hope you woke to the most miracle morning and are also having the most fortunate day today. So do you all remember Vernon Mahabal? This is his third time he's come on the show. This is really cool. I'm always excited when Vernon comes on because he is the, gosh, I mean, he's got the palm reading thing down. You know, so you don't hear a lot about that. You don't see a lot about that. You know what I mean? So it's really cool.
I know.
So, but for those of you who are just checking out Vernon for the first time, April's going to get you up to speed in just a minute. I do want to thank everybody for staying connected with us. As always, our links are in the description below. And if you haven't already, kindly hit the subscribe button and turn on the notification bell. So when we do get fantastic guests like Vernon on, you are notified. So thanks and much love for that. I miss anything?
Yes. If you would please just take a quick moment and hit the like button and subscribe. And also, we would greatly appreciate if you would kindly share this show. Thank you so much. And without further ado, let's welcome Vernon Mahabal. He's a world-renowned palmist. Vernon has given literally hundreds of lectures. He's trained hundreds of students. And he is the palmistry consultant also for Coast to Coast AM. If you have never experienced a palm reading, it is so extraordinary. It's not like anything it's not like any other type of reading you've ever experienced. It's very comprehensive, and it is also very, very mind-blowing. Vernon has the ability from the palm to tell you things that you just can't even fathom. It's really extraordinary, past, present, and future. So if you want to check it out and you want to get an awesome palm reading, go to the palmistryinstitute.com and connect with Vernon. You guys are going to love it.
And really, for all you junkies out there who are into predictions and what's going to happen in your life, it is really a cool experience. I actually had the good fortune of doing it myself with my palm, and he's pretty spot on. This is why we continually ask him back. So Vernon, much love to you, brother. How are you? Happy New Year. Thank you for being here.
Well, thank you for that introduction. I don't deserve it, and thank you for having me, and happy to too.
Yeah, happy to too.
Both of you.
So there's a lot going on right now, and I know you got some stuff here we can cover because there's a lot of people now. Okay, we've just obviously turned that proverbial corner. Now we enter into 2022, so now it's like, oh, now what do I do? So we wanted to bring you on here from a very different approach, like April was sharing about the palmistry point of view and how you actually connect with things and the way you do it. But the transmigration of the human soul into 2022, like going the human soul, the 2022, the transmigration of the human soul. Can we go there for a minute and tell us what that looks like for us?
Absolutely.
So yeah. What are you thinking on that one?
So do you want me to tell you about 22, what I'm seeing on hands?
Yeah.
Okay. So an astrologer would look at this year and see that Pluto is in Capricorn now. And Pluto is not only in Capricorn, but it's retrograde. It's really in a tenacious situation. So what I'm seeing on people's hands is that this is going to be a very tenacious year. It's going to be ultimately good, but there will be a lot of pushback. And the last time Pluto was in retrograde and in Capricorn was in 1776.
Pushback in what way?
The government might be more heavy-handed, and people will push back against that.
Okay,
You see,
that's good.
2 years ago, people in good faith just said, okay, let me wear the masks, let me do this, let me do that. Even if people weren't 100% behind it, they felt there's something kind of weird about this, but
Yeah.
everybody did it in good faith. Now we're seeing airlines, people are walking off the job with airlines. Airlines are starting to change things. Even our American military, people are walking off the job. Some companies are just saying, we can't take this. We're going to change this. We're not going to follow the mandate of the administration. Other companies are going along with it. But there's what Pluto in Capricorn means ultimately, and in retrograde, is that things are exposed. There's a huge expose. And where I see the expose in people's hands is that with the vaccine, I think people are going to become more and more aware, not in the mainstream news. They're going to suppress it. Obviously, they suppress everything, but lots and lots of people will start being aware of how these vaccines are affecting one's heart. That's what I see in people's hands. In other words, the blood clots. I mean, I was talking to someone who is really into European soccer, and he was telling me that something like 60 incredible athletes have just either passed on or had heart attacks on the field. So this is our area that I see that people are going to talk about with the vaccine aspects, and people are going to become more and more cautious and hesitant and reluctant to take the vaccines as they are now, but they're also going to expose what's in the vaccines. So the government will become more heavy-handed, but people will become more rebellious.
All right, well, that's good, because we need that. We need people to say, enough is enough. I've had it. Stand up for your sovereignty.
But the flip side of that,
Yeah.
I want to ask you this on the flip side of that, on the we need people to stand up. Spiritually, as they came in here, these people that did take the vaccine, that are going through their things, were they just willing participants in this game of life? I mean, was that part of karma or destiny for them to say, okay, there's going to be a moment in time maybe that, this will happen and this will create.
Jay, they're innocent. They're just innocent. They're not critical thinkers. They're just innocent. They're being taken advantage of. And, it may take a few lifetimes for them to like wake up and become a little bit more cautious and careful and prudent, you see, about things around them. They're innocent. A lot of them are just, they don't understand that they don't understand. They're not critical thinkers. So
I think that really just nailed it on the head. They're just they're innocent, they're lovely people, but they just don't think with critical thinking skills. And that's all there is to it. What's ironic though? A lot of them have critical thinking skills when it comes to their business or what they're doing today, but they're lacking that intellectual, that higher level, that spiritual level of, critical thinking, really. What do you think?
Yes, and that's part of spirituality. In other words, after about 100, 200 human births, a person will start to question stuff. They'll start to ask, what is the purpose of life? What am I here for? How come I never seem to be happy doing everything I'm supposed to do? I'm making money. I'm in relationships. I've got the latest car, but I'm not happy. So when that starts to happen, when people start to question stuff, that's when they really begin to utilize what this human form of life is about, which is inquiry. And a lot of these people, let's say, who are taking the vaccines and acquiescing to it, are not really inquiring about it. They're not thinking, what's the goal? So the purpose of human life is to say to oneself, what is the goal? What am I here for? Is there a God? What's the plan? Why do I have to suffer here? So when a person asks these questions, then they they're actually utilizing the human form of life, which is this human form of life is meant for self-realization. And self-realization means to question stuff. It means to be cautious and careful. It means
So
to be prudent and
let me-
watchful.
Let me ask you this then. So
Yes.
let's say, for example, Vernon, that so you've studied all the way back to the Mahabharata, the Hindu text, the Hindu spiritual book, if you would, all the way back for
Vedas.
thousands and
Yeah, I'm a
thousands of
follower
years.
of the Vedas. I'm a
Yeah,
follower of Bhagavad
right.
Gita.
So if
I
we
grew up as a Roman Catholic, and I turned to the Indian subcontinent for my answer.
That's good. That's good discussion to have with the family over dinner one day, right? But you know what happens with the many lifetimes, as you refer to, like we keep going through lifetimes. So was this particular lifetime that we're all in right now, this experience with are lifetimes like this kind of preordained, meaning that are they already set in stone? Like, okay, everybody born in this time is going to experience this. The lesson is, do you use your critical thinking or you do this? Or are there legitimate dark forces in play here that are actually doing this, that have external control, if you would,
Influence.
or external influence over the souls that are here right now?
Yeah, great question, Jay. This particular age that we live in the Vedic view, they call it a Yuga, and we're in what's called Kali Yuga, and it started about 5,000 years ago, 3,102 BC. And so the souls being born now, that includes me, are not so spiritually aware. It's called the Iron Age, or sometimes called Krita Yuga, which means that it's a very difficult the souls being born now tend to be a little bit more materialistic than the souls born in previous yugas. The spiritual practices tend to be a lot easier because it is such a difficult age. And at the same time, because people tend to in other words, part of this Kali Yuga is that human beings are sometimes called Dvipadupashu. In Sanskrit, it means two-legged animals. In other words, people are just okay with the animal propensities of eating and sleeping and mating and defense. They're just okay with that. If they have that, they're happy. But in this Kali Yuga, it's harder for people to say, well, what's the point of all this? Why am I not happy? Why am I? In other words, that's very difficult for most people. Most people born in this age. This age lasts 632,000 years. So as it progresses,
we will go into.
Well, we are actually in a golden age now. We just started it in 1999, and it really is starting now. So there are golden ages within the Kali Yuga for sure. But because people they don't inquire about the absolute truth, they can't identify when they're being taken advantage of. So the dark forces, the reptilians, or what the Sanskrit texts call the Rakshasas. Rakshasa literally means man-eater. These are people who are what people in this Western world will call people who worship Satan and do all their horrible practices, blood drinking and all that. I don't want to get into it. But that's why you have a cabal that can completely hypnotize people and entrance people into taking their vaccines and this type of thing, because they know how to hypnotize people. So subconsciously. So most people are innocent. Most people are innocent, and they have to go through trials and tribulations to say to themselves, why am I suffering in this material world? When a human being starts to say, why am I suffering in this material world? That's a very big stage. In other words, when one at least philosophically understands that there's no happiness in this material world, pleasure is there, happiness is there, but it's temporary. But when one at least philosophically says to oneself, there's no real satisfaction here. I'm doing everything I'm supposed to be doing, but there's no real satisfaction. There's no real contentment here. Then the person starts saying, well, what am I doing here? How do I get out of here? What's the process of liberation? Who is God? You see. So the souls being born now in Kali Yuga really kind of don't want that. They kind of want to live animalistic lives, and they're entitled to that. Now, having said that, we do have a free will, and many souls who associate with, let's say, saintly people will move forward, you see. So most souls in this Kali Yuga are being influenced by the reptilians, the Rakshasas, for sure. You know,
So-
they're doing.
So
Go ahead.
Vernon, okay, so let me ask you this. If everybody, if we are living in, let's say, people call it a simulation, a game, alternate reality, whatever you want to call it, then are all of these people or entities players in the game? Let's say we're all players in this game, right? So ultimately, are there not any victims really? Because everybody is playing a specific role, even though it's maybe a horrific role.
If one follows evil, if one cannot identify evil, they're bound to become taken over by it. So
Well,
they
that's
will
true.
have to suffer.
Mhm.
I don't see this as an alternative in palmistry, in my practice. I don't see this as an alternative reality or simulation. It's real. I mean, you know, this body, this physical body is real. But it's temporary.
Mhm.
So yes, people who are influenced by these Rakshasas have to suffer. But the whole point of suffering in this material world is that it's actually a good thing ultimately, because it brings purification. If one is constantly just enjoying, they won't inquire about the absolute truth. But
Mhm.
if someone is actually saying, hey, I'm suffering, I'm not happy, what's the problem here? You know, then that suffering becomes purification, and then they inquire about God. You
Vernon,
see?
let
So in
me ask,
one sense, suffering is good.
you
see.
this.
It has a higher context. Now, the most important thing about spiritual life is that when people start to inquire about self-realization, they think, okay, well, are there people on this planet who are spiritually aware? And they are there. There are many spiritual people walking on this planet who are what they would call a Shaktivesh avatar or pure devotee.
So I just want to make sure I just want to make sure I got what you just said there, because there's a lot of talk about this, and it's really just pretty fascinating to get your perspective on this. So what I'm understanding you saying is that, you know, this is just a real thing. We're just reincarnated to, this is real right here. We're touching, this is real, it's temporary, but it's not a simulation. It's not a matrix of any sort.
That's a
not part of any-
speculation, the matrix, the simulation. That's a complete absolute no, it's real. This is real. We are spiritual. We're a spiritual soul. The soul is within in the innermost core of the heart. We're eternal, and this body is just temporary. That's all. It's real. You know, if I hit my hand on the cement, I'm gonna get hurt. It's real. The cement's real, but it's temporary.
true.
So
My
when
hand is
people
real,
talk
but it's
About
temporary.
being an illusion.
So when people talk about an illusion, being in the matrix, being this, is that would that be?
Is that a trap?
Whether they know they're saying it or not, whether there may be good intent with it, is that thoughts that are coming from a dark place to keep them?
I
Where do
just
those
think
thoughts
they don't
come
have
from
no. I think they're trying to understand the absolute truth. No problem at all. But it's kind of like in the New Age thought. There's this idea that we're all, you know, everything is one. We're all one. And that's good to understand that we're all one, because we are part and parcel of God. We're all brothers and sisters. And we all share the desire to love and help each other and to serve others. We all share that. But even higher than that, the New Age world is stuck in this idea of oneness. But higher than oneness is individuality. And it's by individuality that we love, you see. So one of the things that you were asking before is are we stuck in this? Is it our destiny? No, we have a free will. individuality is all about free will. God gives us an individuality, never takes away our independence, and we always have a free will. In one lifetime, we can go back to the kingdom of God. We can become pure. In fact, the thing is that the problem in this society is that in the Western and the Eastern society is that people don't know where the saintly people are. They can't recognize a saintly person. In other words, the whole principle of spiritual life, the entire master key to understanding spiritual life and to advance in spiritual life is to associate with those who are living a devotional life. And what does that mean? That means that they're completely free from the desire to enjoy the material world. As Christ said, live in the material world, but don't be of it.
Mm-hmm.
And that's perfect knowledge. So there are saintly people on this planet who are not necessarily famous and well known, but they are completely detached from enjoying this material world. They have completely detached from lust, anger, and greed. And they're sweet. They're tolerant. They're humble. In fact, there's even a woman in Miami. Her name is Shamarani. She has an ashram there, and many people go to her for spiritual association
because they feel disconnected where they're at in the material world. And
yeah,
so,
I mean, look at our Pope. He's a travesty. All of them have been. I mean, he's just a politician. He's one of the dark forces. He's one of the cabal. Mm-hmm. So people don't know what a saintly personality is, and the whole key to spirituality is it's just like who you associate, you would become like. If you associate with business people, you become good at business. If you associate with criminals, you become good at being a criminal.
Right?
Yes,
if you associate with saintly people, you take on their qualities. What
you.
is the qualities of a saintly person? Mercy, tolerance, humility, happiness, complete detachment from this material world. And that's where the happiness is. We don't find happiness in this material world because we're attached to something that's temporary.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so let me ask you this then. Your view on, because a lot of this being thrown around there, and this is great. Thanks for this conversation. Is the dimensions, for example. So everybody now starts talking about dimensions. Like, okay, well, we're trying to get to a thoughts are we're in a third dimension, is what we're told. Which we're trying to get to a fifth dimension. Or there may be a fourth that gets in between there somewhere, and the fifth, and then higher and higher and higher. Is that the way to look at it? And I understand this from a consciousness standpoint, but is that the way to look at it? Like, hey, we're at this lower place right here, and there's a linear up climbing going to this place, and the higher we get to source. Is that the right way of looking at it, or how would you perceive it?
Yeah, it's kind of like, it's a great question, Jay. It's kind of like people who do astral projection. So they see all kinds of entities, they see ghosts, they see spirits, they may even see an angel, but that's still part and parcel of the material world. They're not out of the material world. The highest dimension is to be unattached to the material world and to be completely attached to the spiritual world. And what does that mean, to be attached to the spiritual world? It means to have complete devotional faith. It means to be a very sweet person, very humble, very tolerant, merciful, where you're joyous. The constitutional position of our soul. In other words, in Sanskrit, the soul is called the Jivatma. Jivatma. And the word Jivatma means spiritual soul. And the constitutional position of the Jivatma is service, devotional service. That's our constitutional position. And what it's made up of is pure devotional energy. It's I don't even want to say energy. It sounds too impersonal. It's pure devotion. Our soul is actually an emotional, devotional entity. And it's what's called Satchidananda. We're eternal. We're blissful and happy, and we have awareness and knowledge. And that's the position of the soul, to love. And this is why the Rakshasas, the reptilians, why they hate us so much, because they don't have that as part of their soul. Mm-hmm. When they see a human being hug and kiss and share love and warmth, They
don't-
get
They don't have that
envious.
capability.
They don't have that gene.
They become envious. They don't want money. They don't want really power and they want power and control. But what they really dislike is that they're envious of our being able to love. But that's the soul's position. That's the soul's position is, as they say, unconditional love, pure devotional service.
Will there
And
ever
when
be a
you
time on the planet where, I mean, because don't you need the balance of both the good and the light and the dark? Will there ever be a time where it'll all be light, or will there always be the
no,
dark
no,
one?
the material world is made for those who come into the material world who want to live separately from God. There's a reason for this. There's a reason for this. In other words, the material world, although it's temporary and it has a beginning and it's destroyed every now and then, it's still eternal. It's still a part of of God's cosmos, because there are souls who want to come here. And in other words, the material world exists so that people can do their nefarious stuff and apart from spiritual stuff, but you still have to suffer for it. You see, so God never takes away our independence. So if we want to come to the material world and do horrible stuff, then,
Is it, would this be considered, people refer to this as a
Prison planet?
prison planet, number one. They refer to it as a version of hell, or any
No,
other.
it's not hell.
It's not hell. Okay.
No, hell, there are hells though. They're below us. So people like the Henry Kissingers and definitely Fauci, I mean, they're probably creating a hell especially for him. I mean, think of, you cannot give, if you give even one prick of pain to someone, you have to suffer for that, unless it's just innocent.
Can you
think of all the people that he's hurt and killed? He's going to have to suffer for everybody that he's hurt and killed.
Can you balance that out in the same lifetime? So let's say, for example, someone, Fauci, obviously a very extreme example there, but let's say, for example, someone did something, well, it is what it is, right?
I'm thinking, what could he possibly even do to make that
Well,
wrong, right?
that's what I'm saying. I don't want to use Fauci as an example, but I want to say, let's say, for example, anybody just like they did something, they did a nefarious act, they did it one time, and then they're like, they kind of regretted it. Can they make up for that in this
Absolutely,
particular
it's your
lifetime?
attitude. It's your attitude. It absolutely. Saintly people sometimes get into difficult situations themselves because it's the material world. There's always trials and tribulations, and it's let go because it's your attitude. It's your intention. If you're trying to be a good person, it's called gyan. Gyan means that if you're trying to walk the path of God consciousness, then all your sinful activity is burned up immediately. It's your intention.
Vernon,
sure.
I want to ask you this because you said that this was like our choice to come here to get away from God, if you would. But then when you look at it aesthetically, you look at whatever, you see billions of people praying, trying to get connected to something. A lot of times you see them in a state of suffering. When they came down here, or when we all came down here, did many of us say, holy smokes, I changed my mind, can I get back? Did we have that thought process and now we have to live through it?
We've never been in the spiritual world yet. Anyone who's in this material world has never yet gone to the spiritual world, or never been in the spiritual world. We took our birth in an area called the Tastastas Shakti. It's a Sanskrit term. It's a kind of a demilitarized zone between the spiritual world and the material world. So souls are constantly being created. And so some souls can go to the spiritual world, and some souls decide to go to the material world and to experience the pleasures of the material world. So any soul that is in the material world has never been in the spiritual world yet. But if you think about it, even if we've been here for time immemorial.
Where do you go when you cross over?
Hello, everybody. How are you? Much love to you. It's very good to see you and hang out with you. I hope you're having a fantastic day here. So let me give you some updates about what's going on with Spiritually Raw. So as you can see right here, a new facelift. I hope you like it. Okay, so this is the new facelift, the image of the site. So watch Evolve Ascend. It's very cool, very streamlined. Everything's broken down in very easy catalogs, playlists for you to watch whatever kind of topic you're looking for to help you on your journey called life. So let's check it out together. All right. So literally here you go, the homepage right here. You can scroll down. If you're already a member, same login and password as you normally do. If you're not, you can click right here, join now, get a 3-day free trial, check out and binge on the whole network as much as you want. I hope you like it, and I'm sure you will, but that's 3 days on us. Okay, so don't forget to check that out if you're not already. Here's some videos that are recent that we just put up there that you'll be able to check here. Now, also too, I want to go back here real quick, catalog. So this is how we've broken it down for you. Super simple and very easy playlist, new releases, intuitive psychic mediums, the Great Awakening, metaphysical, current events, 2020 videos for those of you who want to take a trip down memory lane and see how that all worked out. Prosperity, special report, I mean, so on and so forth. I mean, it goes on and on and on. We have really brought together the best minds out there that are coming in to entertain us, but then to break it down so simple, again, to help us on our journey called life. So this is really cool here. So also, I want to point out here for those of you who have actually said, hey, you know, I do want to have my own show. We also have a master course preview, and that's there to designed to teach all of you who would like to have your own show, or maybe even need some help in being interviewed when you are on other shows too. But let's go down a little further. I want to show you something else. So for all of you out there who have Roku, you simply need to click here and you can now watch us on Roku TV. Coming soon within the coming weeks, within probably a week or so, you'll see us on the iPhone, Apple. We're streaming everywhere. You'll be able to download the app soon on Apple. But as of right now, like I said, you can stream us anywhere there. So, and these are some examples of the topics that you're going to be watching when you do go to spirituallyraw.live. So thank you very, very much for hanging out with us as you always do. Really do hope you are having the most miracle mornings and are having the most fortunate days. And this really is bringing you a lot of value. And again, helping you on your journey called life. So thanks again, and we will see you all next time.
We'd like to share a story. While it may sound fictional, it's very real and happening right now in front of our very eyes. It's called the Great Awakening. Our sisters and brothers that come on Spiritually Raw are doing everything to help expand global consciousness, and in many cases putting everything on the line to share their messages about what's happening around the world for the greater good of humanity, while exposing the truth of the deep state and the dark forces behind it all. We are living in the most unbelievable times. Some may even say biblical, scary for many and yet exhilarating for others. Together we are taking part in getting everyone acclimated to the Great Awakening process and the exciting new discoveries that lie ahead. The sad part is many of our amazing guests are being heavily censored, socially shamed, and outright banned on many platforms for exposing the truth and piercing the veil. By becoming a viewer, you bring your powerful energy towards this global movement of other truth seekers. If you're resonating with our show, please let us know by hitting the like button, sharing, subscribing, turn on the notification, and leave some comments. Together, we will turn the universal key to global harmony and create a unified world. And remember, tune in often, tell all your friends, and most importantly, may all your dreams come true. Thanks, and God bless Patriots worldwide.